Curiosity versus assumptions. I'm going to tell you a story about my daughter. This happened just recently. I had tucked her in one night and it was her normal bedtime, and I said goodnight. I did all the things we do to get her to bed at night. And I went on about my evening. And now each time I walked by her bedroom door, which was open, I saw her laying in bed wide awake. And I thought, gosh, she's not falling asleep. And I start to tell myself some stories about what is going on with her. I say, gosh, going back to school, she must be really stimulated. Maybe her mind is kind of racy. So I poke my head and I check in with her. I'm like, you doing okay? You tired? I'm good, she says. So some more time passes. It's getting later. It's getting more towards my bedtime. I start thinking, gosh, maybe she's not getting enough physical activity. Maybe we need to get her signed up for swim team or something. I'm brainstorming. I'm problem solving in my head. I poke in again. I'm like, you okay, honey? She's like, all right, so she doesn't need anything from me. I'm thinking to myself, gosh, maybe she needs some melatonin. What is it? What's going on with her? So I'm generating all of these stories in my head about why she's awake and what I can do to resolve this problem. Now, finally, it was my bedtime, and I checked in on her again. I was like, need anything? She's like, good, I'm good. So I went to bed. Now, the next morning, I hear from my husband that he was awakened at midnight by the sound of her alarm, her echo alarm in her bedroom. And he was curious with her. He said, I noticed your alarm went off, and he ended up getting up to turn it off because she didn't wake up. She slept right through it. But it woke him up. So he gets up, turns off her alarm. Next morning, to ask her about it. What's going on? Why was your alarm going off at midnight? And she said, I was set it to stay awake so that I could do a vampire spell. But don't worry, if I become a vampire, don't worry, I'll bite you and Mom so that we'll all be vampires together. So that was what she said that next morning. So she was staying awake until midnight because she'd heard something about reading some sort of spell at midnight would turn you into a vampire. And we had a good laugh over this. And it is a great example to me of how I tell myself stories in my head about what's going on. I think I know. I start problem solving about it. There's a lot going on in my head, but without stopping and getting curious. We don't know what's going on in the other head. It could really be surprising. Like it could be about vampire spells. We just don't know. And I have learned this time and time again with clients. When I have been working with somebody who's struggling with a behavior or a health concern or some sort of safety issue, in my head, I'm instantly like, you must be concerned about this and this and this, and these would be good things for you to do. But without pausing and getting really curious and asking what is going on with that person and why they might want to change and what thoughts they have about how to change, my assumptions and my thoughts might be very different than what is going on in terms of like their reality. So I just thought I would share that story with you for a little food for thought about the difference between assumptions, kind of that problem, thinking we know what's going on, problem solving and solution oriented, versus pausing to be curious and learning some potentially surprising things about our clients.